It's the most powerful show on television. High drama with intense energy. A show dedicated to a few brave souls who risk their lives for the sake of their craft. Its in-depth reporting goes to the core and unlocks the mysteries behind today's raciest sport. Motorsports. Catch it when you can.
Speed Station welcomes you to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway in Madison, Illinois for the running of the Bommarito 500. In the race analysis, today's event here at Worldwide Technology Raceway will take place over the course of 160 laps around the 1.25-mile oval here in Illinois, with stage number 1 ending on lap 55 and stage 2 ending on lap 110. Keep in mind that today's event, it will be very critical to get track position. It's rather difficult to pass here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. If you can get that track position and stay out front, you can potentially pin a driver down, even on fresher tires behind you, by running slightly up the racetrack, pinching off their corner exit because of the incredibly tight exits of these corners here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Even knowing that turns 3 and 4 is nowhere near as tight as 1 and 2, you can still pinch down your competitors on the exit of these corners, on both the exit of turn 2 and turn 4 here, so track position is very critical. Even knowing there's quite a bit of tire fall off because of the rather old surface now here at Gateway, still it will be very critical to try and stay out and potentially earn yourself a race win by using that track position to your advantage. We'll be seeing that type of strategy all throughout the Bommarito 500. And also, we have just 5 races left until the playoffs begin at Darlington. A lot of drivers are in must-win territory right now. This might be their chance to break through into the win column and score one of those Game 7 moments we talk about and getting into the playoffs very late in the regular season. Well, in your regular season point standings coming into today's event, Kevin Harvick still holds a very, very narrow 2-point margin above Joey Logano following the race at Mansfield. Now, granted, SHR came into a massive amount of controversy after sort of manipulating the race out at Mansfield with Cole Custer excessively blocking Joey Logano, which is what led to Daniel Suarez capitalizing, taking home his second win of the season. Logano, if he would have been able to pass that number 41 car of Cole Custer, who was blocking him over the course of about 40 laps, would have likely been able to win the race and exit Mansfield with the point lead. So no fines through points for any of the SHR cars, but every single team at Stewart-Haas Racing has been fined a full $75,000. So that may have a very large impact on them, especially in Kevin Harvick's quest for this regular season championship. Now with this heavy of a penalty and just having a 2-point lead above Joey Logano, it might be Logano's time to pounce. And he has not won in more than a year and a half in that number 22 car for Team Penske. Today would be a prime opportunity for this organization to go to victory lane, because it would most certainly hand them the point lead. Denny Hamlin still sets third in regular season points, 38 points out of the lead. Daniel Suarez picked up 1 spot last week at Mansfield with his win. Definitely benefited by the number 41 car of Custer blocking the 22 of Logano. Suarez is now 4th in regular season points, 52 points out of the lead. Chase Elliott sets 5th, as well as Brandon Jones in 6th. They are both tied, 74 points out of the point lead. Chase Elliott gets the tiebreaker with 2 additional top 5s on the season. Clinton Boyer in his final full-time season, that 14 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, another driver who was fined because of the antics of the number 41 team. He still sets 7th in regular season points, 84 points out of the lead. Martin Truex Jr. is 8th in point standings, 86 points out of the lead. Kyle Busch is 9th in the standings, 94 points out of the lead. And Eric Jones still with his phenomenal season at JTG Doherty Racing, 10th in regular season points, 96 points out of the point lead, and could potentially be a lock for the playoffs if we do not get more than 16 winners. And, hey, potentially Eric Jones could end up in victory lane in these next 5 races. In your playoff standings, Harvick, Suarez, Elliott, Brandon Jones, Kyle Busch, Briscoe, Hamlin, Truex Jr., DiBenedetto, Larson, Gralla, and Magnussen are all locked into the playoffs currently via their wins this season. Jan Magnussen's only locked in by 1 point. that he has above that 30th position. If he loses 2 points to 30th position, he will drop outside the top 30, and Magnussen's win at Palm Beach will not lock him into the playoffs. Currently, Casarello only sits 26th in regular season points, and we still have Anthony Alfredo, Josh Blicky, and Harrison Burton knocking on the door of that top 30 position. Right now, all those drivers only separated by about 26 points, and currently, that number 71 car of Josh Blicky is within a few points of getting up into the top 30, so we could potentially have 13 or more drivers locked in following this race here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Joey Logano, if we do not get more than 16 locked-in winners, has more or less pointed his way into the playoffs already, 120 points above that cutoff line. He's more or less secure by more than 2 races right now above that cutoff line. Clinton Boyer sets 38 points above. That's almost 1 race to be above the cutoff line. Boyer can feel a little bit more secure. Eric Jones and Brad Keselowski being 26 and 25 points above the cutoff line. They really need to watch out for any drivers who could point their way up into the top 30 that have wins this season, or any more drivers below that cutoff line who could get to victory lane, because it would automatically bump them out. So they really need to keep their eyes on that situation. Alex Bowman is currently the first car outside the playoffs. He sets 25 points on the outside looking in. Justin Allgaier 36 points out. Tyler Reddick 39 points out. And Ryan Blaney 53 points out. Blaney on back is in must-win territory, as you can tell after consecutive weeks of struggles. Kurt Busch is once again way deep in the point standings. He is absolutely in must-win territory to try and make the playoffs this season. More than 60 points out of that top 16 position right now. He will have to pull off a clutch victory in these next 5 races. But he won right here at Worldwide Technology Raceway last season. Kurt Busch could be a legitimate contender here this afternoon. NASCAR invited powerhouse team Hendrick Motorsports here to Worldwide Technology Raceway to test the next generation car with drivers Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Chase Elliott, and Alex Bowman. And what all 4 drivers noticed was rather congruent with the rest of the tests that we've had so far this season. Any lack of side force that these race cars have, it makes up for with mechanical grip from that independent rear suspension and wider tires. This car is very drivable off into the corner, but if you try to overstep its limit of grip just a little bit, with that lack of side force, you more or less will be spinning this race car out, because there's no downforce holding you onto the racetrack once you lose traction. So it's very unforgiving. It's rather a handful to try and drive around, especially at a racetrack like this. But with that lack of a wake that it puts out due to almost no side force whatsoever because of how flat the sides of these cars are and how they're symmetrical as well, that means you can pass rather easily because there's no huge amount of dirty air that these cars produce. So you can get right up to the back bumper and make a move without being really disturbed too much by that air, producing that aero push that you see on these race cars more or less everywhere we go. The Gen 6 cars, that is, because of the amount of air that they push, that produces a huge area of low pressure behind them, which is great for drafting. But once you get into the corner, it's actually picking up the front end of your race car, taking downforce away, which is what you want at a super speedway, let's say. That's why the draft is good at Talladega. But at a racetrack like Worldwide Technology Raceway, it just makes it difficult to pass because the car out front has the most front-end downforce of really anyone on track. So that's what NASCAR is trying to fix with this next-gen car, and they're doing a good job at it, as all 4 drivers here at Worldwide Technology Raceway were satisfied with the test. Hello everyone, welcome back to the NASCAR Cup Series Ride-Along segment. Today we are back in the test car prepping for the 2nd annual Bommarito 500 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Very tough pit road here at Worldwide Technology. As you can tell, access road right here, grass up on your outside. You do not want to push it too hard. Very loose down here because of all the dirt and stuff that piles down there because it's not commonly ran. You know, it's not the racing surface. Very easy to push it just a little bit too far and get caught up into that dirt, sliding up onto the racetrack and more or less wrecking your car that way. Anyway, this racetrack, very unique. Practically drives like a short track and a speedway at the same time. Very, very long straightaways. This green flag for, I guess you'd call a mock run. Turns 1 and 2 down here, designed off of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You got to get hard onto the brakes, downshift down to 3rd gear, and try to run right down near the bottom of the racetrack. A lot of grip right down here. Get back to the throttle, coming out of turn 2. Very tight exit of turn 2 here. Up into 4th gear. You do not need to downshift through 3 and 4. This is modeled off of Phoenix. Much wider. You stay in 4th gear. Through here, get right down to the bottom of the racetrack. That's where the most grip is. This track, very unique, designed after 2 different right around 1 mile ovals. Very fun place to run at. Track position will be critical here, as I mentioned during the race analysis. Very hard to try and wrap your head around this place because of the difference between turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 being modeled after New Hampshire has a little bit higher banking, so you can lean it just a little bit harder down to the corner. Even though it's tighter, you got more banking to hold you. 3 and 4 requires a little bit more finesse, honestly, because you got to let the thing roll through the center. Very long corner here in 3 and 4, modeled off of Phoenix. I'd say 3 and 4 is actually harder to get through than 1 and 2. Even though in 1 and 2 you have to downshift, it's the banking that makes the difference. So there's a few laps around Worldwide Technology Raceway in a NASCAR Cup Series car. Very fun racetrack, and it should produce a good race here today for the second ever time the NASCAR Cup Series visits this facility here in Madison, Illinois. Ross Chastain busts off a fantastic lap here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, scoring yet another pole on the season. Outside him is his teammate Chase Briscoe in the number 53 car. After winning the Camping World Truck Series race last week at Mansfield Motorsports Park, Kurt Busch, who was in must-win territory and who won this race last season, qualifies that 1 car for Chip Ganassi Racing in 3rd position. Kyle Larson qualifies his very own number 57 car in 4th spot. The number 42 of Justin Allgaier in 5th position. He's very good at this style of racetrack. Tracks such as Phoenix and New Hampshire play right into his wheelhouse. And guess what? Worldwide Technology Raceway is based off of those 2 racetracks. So Justin Allgaier, you have to keep your eyes on that number 42 car throughout today's event. William Byron qualifies the 24 car in 6th position. Daniel Suarez in 7th after winning last week in the NASCAR Cup Series. Jan Magnussen with a great qualifying position in 8th spot. Magnussen took up to this racetrack very well during both practice and qualifying because of the downshifting and different style of corners here. It plays into his road course experience. Even though you turn just one direction here, the way you change your driving style for the approach of both corners does resemble that of a road course. Tyler Ankrum qualifies that 26 car for GMS Racing in 9th position. Another good run for that organization in qualifying. And Kevin Harvick, who comes into this race with a 2-point lead above Joey Logano in regular season points, qualifies that 4 car for Stewart-Haas Racing in 10th position. Keep your eyes on Logano, by the way, who qualifies in 12th spot. Right now, Harvick still holding the advantage above Logano, but they're going to be starting very close to each other. In fact, nose to tail here in the Bommarito 500. And so now let's get down trackside for the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Just like when we talked about the transporter. At the end of pit road, the last pit box is a timing line. So the last white line on pit exit is the line. Big thumbs up, my friend. Have a good time.
Pace car ducks onto pit road. Ross Chastain, your pole sitter, leads the field onto the front straightaway for the 2nd annual Bommarito 500. Flagman has the green flag in hand. And there it is. We are now underway here from Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. The field fans out down to turn number 1. Here comes Kurt Busch down on the inside. Almost contact between Chip Ganassi Racing teammates as Kurt Busch storms down on the inside to take away the race lead. Busch not playing games here at Gateway, trying to win his way into the playoffs. Down into turn number 3, gets the advantage above the 55 car of Ross Chastain. Chastain dropping back, and where did Suarez come from? Started outside the top 5, now going up for 2nd as Quinn Half trying to make it 4 wide farther back. Another Chip Ganassi Racing car down there. Kurt Busch will lead lap number 1, picking up where he left off last season at this very facility. Daniel Suarez down to the inside of his teammate Ross Chastain. Suarez almost out of nowhere to take up 2nd. And now Justin Allgaier almost bump drafting that 00 car down the back straightaway. Allgaier's going to take up 3rd spot, potentially right here through turns 3 and 4 as the 55 car drops back. Chip Ganassi Racing now holds 2 of the top 3 running positions. Here comes Clint Boyer as well, slicing his way through the field, getting around the 55 car of Ross Chastain. The caution flag waves. Yellow flag is already out here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Kurt Busch is your race leader, above Daniel Suarez, Justin Allgaier, Ross Chastain, and Clint Boyer. And trouble already for one of our playoff contenders. Jan Magnussen gets clipped on the entry down to turn number 3 by the 88 car of Brad Keselowski. 33 car slows down just a little bit more than Keselowski anticipated, hard up into the outside wall. For that number 33 car, tremendous amount of damage right there, carrying the 88 car of Keselowski up into the wall. Harvick just barely misses this as he got freight trained on the start of the race. And then the 88 car slides down the racetrack into his teammate Chase Elliott. Number 9 car with a lot of damage as well. And it also collects the number 96 of Drew Herring. This might be terminal for the number 33 team of Jan Magnussen. They are absolutely going to have to bank on the upcoming races at Watkins Glen, Road America, and Daytona to try and make the playoffs and get up back into that top 30, because this might drop them on the outside once again. Chase Elliott is absolutely out of this race. A lot of smoke pouring from that number 9 car. And this is a really big opportunity for Josh Bilicki. He currently runs in 25th position. With Jan Magnussen's troubles already, this might move Bilicki back up into a playoff spot, because he comes into this race 32nd in regular season point standings, just about 6 points out of making the top 30. So Bilicki might be able to carry his Daytona 500 win into the playoffs. And you can really tell how many positions that 4 car of Kevin Harvick lost since the start of the race. He qualified for Stewart-Haas Racing in 10th position, and he has already dropped down to 27th, while his biggest contender in point standings right now, just 2 points back in regular season points coming into this race. Joey Logano, he runs 17th. That's a full 10 positions separating the 22 and 4 cars. If the race were to end right now, Logano will take away the regular season point lead. Wow, and already Brad Keselowski, Jan Magnussen, and Chase Elliott have pulled their 3 race cars behind the wall. They are out of the Bommarito 500 here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. The only car that survived the accident is the 96 of Drew Herring. He is right now pulling off of pit road. He will restart in 39th position. Not too much damage on that 96 car, but terminal damage on the 88, 33, and 9 cars. Yet again, bad luck for Hendrick Motorsports. They had a terrible weekend last week at Mansfield, with all their cars finishing at least 1 lap behind eventual race leader Daniel Suarez. Their troubles continue here at Gateway. Sure, they got the win at New Hampshire with Chase Elliott, but really it's been a very off season for Hendrick Motorsports all the way around. And Jan Magnussen, yet again, good qualifying run here at Gateway, taken out early. That's kind of been the story of his season so far. I'm sure he's happy to see 2 road courses on the schedule in the upcoming races. In fact, next week we head to Road America for the first time in series history since 1956. Magnussen ought to be awfully strong there. You will have to watch out for him to be a potential contender for the victory out at Road America. That could definitely bring him back up into the fight in the playoffs. And don't count him out at Watkins Glen either. And so right now, all 3 Chip Ganassi racing cars run within the top 10. Kurt Busch first, 42 car of Justin Allgaier in 3rd, and the 40 of Quinn Half actually raced his way up into 8th position. A great day so far for that organization. They also have the 26 of Tyler Ankrum running in 7th. They use some of Chip Ganassi Racing's data to improve their race team out at GMS. So a very good day for that organization. You know, we do have one Hendrick car right up at the front of the field. It's the 24 of William Byron, and actually the 48 of Alex Bowman, just 2 cars behind him. So good runs still for 2 of the Hendrick cars. Hopefully they can continue that all the way to the checkered flag here today, and especially for William Byron, who comes into this race as a must-win contender, 27th in regular season points with just 5 races to go, and that counts this race here at Worldwide Technology. Byron will have to score a victory to make the playoffs for the first time in his career, but him and Rudy Fugle, I tell you what, they have been gelling over these last few weeks. It's just they have not had the luck to get to the checkered flag. Trouble for the number 18 team of Kyle Busch. They are bringing that car down pit road with the pace car. They currently reside in 35th position, but Busch hits pit road as the pace car pulls off, and his brother Kurt Busch leads the field onto the front straightaway for the restart on lap number 6 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And there's the green flag as the 1 car gets the jump above the 00 of Suarez down to turn number 1. You can see the 18 of Kyle Busch on pit road. They have to make sure they can get that car back onto the racetrack on the lead lap. Here comes the 00 and the 42 to the inside. Justin Allgaier trying to go 3 wide for the top spot down the backstretch. Stenhouse has to catch that 47 machine coming off of turn 2. Down to turn 3, Kurt Busch gets the drive off. and clears the field into the third turn as Justin Allgaier takes up second as Suarez washes up the racetrack. Here comes a Chip Ganassi Racing battle, side by side, down to the start-finish line, the field fanning out farther back. Tyler Ankrum taking up third spot. Great racing so far here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Justin Allgaier is going to take the race lead away from his teammate Kurt Busch. There is Kyle Busch coming off of pit road trying to stay on the lead lap, and he will drop a lap behind race leader Justin Allgaier. A few lap advantage on the 18 Machines tires. Might be able to drive his way back around the 42. And here comes Clint Bowyer trying to force his nose underneath the 26 of Tyler Ankrum. Couldn't quite do it. Kyle Busch now being forced up into the middle by the 40 of Quinn Houff down the front straightaway. And it looks like Busch is going to get freight trained up on those outside lines. Not very good for his hopes of getting back onto the lead lap. Here comes Kurt Busch back down to the inside of Clint Bowyer. As you can see farther back, Eric Almirola almost got up into the outside wall. Kurt Busch on the inside of Clint Bowyer. Busch is going to take up third once again as Quinn Houff is going to get around the 24 of William Byron, moving up into fifth position. Right now, all three Chip Ganassi racing cars reside in the top five. Here comes Kurt Busch back to the inside of Tyler Ankrum on lap 10, and Busch is going to easily take away that spot. Oh, Kyle Busch up into the outside wall, coming off of turn number 4. We have confirmation that it was a flat tire that brought him down pit road with the pace car, but still hit after hit for this number 18 team. Now they're being forced way up the racetrack by the 8 of Reddick, 3 of Austin Dillon. Back up almost into the outside wall as there's a stack up farther back. Contact between the 43 and 22 of Logano and Myatt Snyder. Really dicey racing throughout the field here at Gateway. Contact between Austin Dillon and Joey Logano as Logano shoots by down on the inside. Back out front, the 40 car of Quinn Houff was dropping back as Kurt Busch has retaken the race lead. Busch drove his way around his teammate Justin Allgaier on the inside through turns 3 and 4. Chip Ganassi Racing still holds the top 2 spots, but maybe not for very long, as here comes Clint Bowyer on the inside. And how about this? Ricky Stenhouse Jr., after almost crashing earlier on in this race, has now driven his way up into 10th position as Clint Bowyer will take up second off the 42 of Justin Allgaier. Kurt Busch back out front in that one car for Chip Ganassi Racing, trying to score his first victory since the fall Martinsville race last year. There is almost certainly something wrong with that 18 car of Kyle Busch. He is still dropping back through the field. As we all know, he got trapped that one lap down. It looks like his chances of winning here at Worldwide Technology Raceway are gone at this point. And how about this? You see the 22 car of Logano sliding up the racetrack just a little bit. There is the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Right now they are tied in points. But here comes Harvick back down to the inside. 22 car slides up the racetrack. Kevin Harvick back into the point lead as Logano fades on the exit of turn 2. Back out towards the front of the field, Kurt Busch has started to gap the second-place runner of Clint Bowyer. Has about a 7/10 of a second gap on that 14 car, but Bowyer actually shaved it off by about 2/10 on that last lap, down to half a second. Justin Allgaier still remains in third position. Tyler Ankrum to the inside of Chase Briscoe. Ankrum is going to take up fourth. And the fifth position looks like it's going to be taken by William Byron in the 24 car. How about Justin Hayley in that 77? He has just raced his way around the 40 of Quinn Houff. That's going to move him up into 8th position. And the 71 of Bilicki carving his way through the field. He had a great run at Mansfield. Him and Tommy Baldwin Racing are really starting to gel. Just raced his way around the 57 of Larson to move that 71 car up into 11th position. They are making a really good run towards that top 30 position in points. Now cornering underneath the 48 of Bowman. Josh Bilicki might just be a playoff contender come the Southern 500. Up on the outside, the 14 car of Clint Bowyer has dropped back. The 42 is back up into second, but the caution flag waves once again. Kurt Busch is your race leader here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Justin Allgaier second. Tyler Ankrum stole third position. Bowyer dropped all the way down to fourth. And William Byron in fifth spot. Oh, and right here you can tell, coming off of turn number 4, that 12 car of Blaney gets right up into the marbles, right up on the top of the racetrack, gets clipped a little bit by the 3 car of Austin Dillon on the exit of turn 4, down the racetrack, into the 96 of Herring, and a hard hit into the inside wall by that 12 car of Blaney. No safer barrier down there, just a concrete wall. Blaney does keep the car running and gets it corrected, but I am certain that Ryan Blaney is now out of this race here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. This has just not been the season for this number 12 team. They won the regular season title last season and have just not found the pace this year. Winless so far and in must-win territory with now just 4 races to go in the regular season for them. And look at this damage on the 96 of Herring. They might just be out of the race as well. And on lap 17, Kurt Busch will be leading the field down pit road for the first time of the day. And the biggest problem in the last few races for Kurt Busch has been getting safely on and off pit road. Today they get it right. Kurt Busch gets off pit road in first position above his teammate Justin Allgaier, then Tyler Ankrum, Clint Boyer, and William Byron, your top 5. Also Josh Berlicki leapfrogged a couple positions out of the pits. Tommy Baldwin Racing having a great run so far here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And following that crash coming out of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway, both the 12 of Blaney and the 96 of Herring are officially out of the race here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Unfortunate story, especially for the 96 team after wrecking twice here at Gateway in just 19 laps. Look at how many spots Kevin Harvick has now put between him and the 22 car of Logano. About 8 positions separate the 4 from 22 cars, so Harvick is back into the point lead. And I'll tell you what, if Kurt Busch can pull this off, it will be a massive shakeup in the playoff picture because he comes into this race outside of the top 20 in playoff points. So if he can pull this win off, it's actually going to force out either the 88 or 37 cars from the top 16. And my money would be on Keselowski being the driver to drop outside the top 16 if that one car can go to victory lane, because Keselowski is already out of the Bommarito 500, and the 37 car of Eric Jones is still in the show. How about this? Bubba Wallace currently runs in 12th position for 23XI Racing. They have really not had too many good runs so far this season, but a good one going on here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. They might be able to build on these successes into next season. Pace car peels off onto pit road. Kurt Busch once again leads the field onto the front straightaway and into the restart zone on lap number 20 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. And there is the green flag for the number 1 car down to turn number 1. The 42 of Allgaier all over his back bumper. Entering the first turn, though, Allgaier stays in the line, but here he comes down to the inside on the exit of turn number 2. 26 of Ankrum trying to go 3 wide. You have quite a few options to try and make moves here at Gateway. The field fanning out. Now down to turn number 3, the 1 car of Kurt Busch trying to close the door, and he gets forced up to the top of the racetrack. Ankrum out to the race lead as Byron goes 4 wide to the inside, almost forcing Kurt Busch up into the outside wall. Byron now to second. Oh, the 47 of Stenhouse up into the wall on the exit of turn number 4. Trouble once again for the number 47 team. Here comes Bowman, 4 wide beneath the 1 car of Kurt Busch. Busch rapidly losing positions, being forced way up out of the groove and into the wall. Coming out of turn number 2. 26 of Ankrum now out front above the 24 car of Byron and the 48 of Bowman. How about this? The 71 of Berlicki underneath both the 14 and 42 cars as Suarez now going 4 wide beneath them, and 14 hard up into the outside wall. Down in front of the field, 2 car gets collected. 77 of Hayley, the field flying apart on the front straightaway. The caution flag is waving here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The 26 of Tyler Ankrum is your race leader above the 24 of William Byron, 48 of Alex Bowman, 71 of Josh Berlicki. A great run on that restart. And Daniel Suarez in 5th position. Chevrolet holds your top 5 spots. And this is going to be a really hard hit for this number 14 car in points. Comes into this race 38 points above the cutoff line. Gets forced a little bit wide by that 71 of Berlicki. Then contact gets made between the 57 and 14 as the 00 car tries to make it 4 wide, forcing that 14 car up into the 42 with a hard hit up into that outside retaining wall. You can see that 53 car of Briscoe hard onto the brake pedal to try and miss the 14. There was contact between those 2 cars. 1 car of Kurt Busch just barely squirts by up on the outside. 4 car of Harvick also misses it, but the 2 of DiBenedetto has nowhere to go, plows into it. 55 of Chastain, your pole sitter. Justin Hayley once again collected in an accident that he probably should not have been in. You can see the 37 of Erik Jones getting a lot of damage in that. He's one of our playoff contenders. The 11 car of Hamlin actually sends around his teammate, Brandon Jones, down the front straightaway. Heavy damage on the 61 of Christopher Bell. You see the 22 of Logano right in the middle of this madness. He makes contact with the 37 of Jones. Heavy front-end damage on that 22 car as the 21 of Cindric also gets turned around. 89 of Castle with heavy damage as well. And this is going to be a big impact for multiple contenders in point standings, but especially that 37 of Erik Jones. You can see the 11 car of Hamlin actually accidentally turns around the 20 of Brandon Jones coming off of turn number 4. Those two were just trying to slow down for the accident, but then the field piles in. Newman involved in this mess. The 11 car of Hamlin with quite a bit of damage from the 17, and also the 47 got a lot of damage out of this. Already just 22 laps in here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and we have had multiple shufflings in point standings, but this one might allow the 4 car of Kevin Harvick to get a much larger gap in points, as his main contenders, Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, have already gotten in trouble as that 4 car of Harvick squirted by on the inside. And now under caution, Ankrum, Byron, Bilicki, and several others will be staying out on the racetrack, but the 48 car of Alex Bowman will be hitting pit road, as well as Martin Truex Jr. and all the cars involved in that accident. A little bit of left side damage on that 1 car of Kurt Busch. That's why they're bringing him down. And a lot of damage on the 42 of Justin Allgaier, and an unfortunate story there. A lot of competitive cars got quite a bit of damage in that one. And an even more unfortunate story for that 77 team of Hayley. Every single week they have a strong race car, but it more or less seems like they get involved in someone else's mistake that relegates them to a poor finish. I'll tell you what, last season at Worldwide Technology Raceway, we did not have very many cautions. But this year, it seems like they're getting all their wrecks out early, as that number 99 car of Ryan Preece for Trackhouse Racing has actually made his way all the way up to 9th position by staying out during this caution flag period. First car off of pit road is actually the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. getting out in front of the 48 of Bowman. Then the 22 of Logano. You can tell they cut the hood and front bumper cover off of that race car. Then the 1 of Kurt Busch and 55 of Ross Chastain. 37 car of Erik Jones is still running. Not very much sheet metal left on that 37 car, but they're going to try and keep him on the racetrack and score as many points as possible. Following that accident, coming off of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway, Christopher Bell, Clint Boyer, and Matt DiBenedetto are all out of the race, and this is going to be a very big hit for that number 14 team in points. They held a 38-point margin above that top 16 coming into this race. It's definitely going to close up that gap quite a bit. We've had already quite a few playoff contenders taken out in this one, including that 14 and the 88 and 33 cars. Very eventful day already here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and we're not even a quarter of the way through the race. That 1 car of Kurt Busch, though, really does not have that much damage. He managed to get on the binders on the front straightaway and miss really all the crash. So they got that little bit of left side damage repaired, and I'd say Kurt Busch is still a legitimate factor here in the Bommarito 500. How about this, though? The number 34 of Michael McDowell made it through with minimal damage, and he now runs in 12th position. 95 of Harrison Burton running in 11th, and he's yet another driver who needs to score some consecutive great finishes here in the Cup Series to try and make that top 30, because he's got that win at Pocono, but right now it will not count towards a playoff spot. And this could be a monumental day for this 71 team at Tommy Baldwin Racing, now running in 3rd spot. You have to imagine that they're almost certainly going to get some more sponsorship out of the last few races they've been running consistently up front, with that number 71 team really bringing themselves back up into contention for a playoff spot after they won the Daytona 500 to start the season. Pace car ducks onto pit road. Tyler Ankrum leads the field out of the final corner and onto the front straightaway for yet another single file restart on lap 26. And there's the green flag. 24 of Byron all over the back bumper of the 26 of Ankrum down into turn number 1. Trying to move him just up the racetrack a little bit. Here comes the 24, almost putting the bumper to him. Coming off of turn 2. Actually does put the bumper to him just a little bit. 4 car of Harvick to the inside of the 99 of Ryan Preece down the back stretch. And here actually comes the 22 of Logano. Make up a little bit of track position, even with all that front end damage. Here comes the 53 of Briscoe. Underneath both the 40 and 71 cars battle for the top spot on the front straightaway. William Byron is going to take away the position. We had a car get up into the outside wall. That was the 10 of Eric Amarola farther back. 00 of Suarez now up into second position. Once again, getting a great run. That Coca-Cola Chevrolet. 57 of Kyle Larson now up into third spot. 53 of Briscoe going to try and take advantage of the slowing 26. Down to the inside. Now going to take up the fourth position. Also, the 57 of Larson slid up the racetrack just a little bit. That's going to give the 53 car run on the front straightaway. Close racing between the 8 of Reddick and 1 of Kurt Busch as they almost made contact. That's the battle for 10th position. Owen Harvick actually puts the bumper to the 40 of Quinn Half coming off of turn 2 right there. Harvick down to the inside, trying to take up the 6th position. Yet another great points day already going for this number 4 team, as the 95 really dives it off hard into turn number 3, getting underneath the 40 of Quinn Half, but the 19 of Truex going to make it 3 wide off of turn 4 as Harvick takes up 6th. 53 of Briscoe now up into third spot, getting around the 57 of Larson, as William Byron has started to run away with the race lead just a little bit, but the 00 of Suarez trying to keep him in his sights. 57 of Larson now starting to drop back just a little bit. Tyler Ankrum to his inside down the backstretch. Off into turn number 3, Ankrum is going to take up the 4th position for GMS Racing. And how about this for William Byron? This would be a massive playoff shakeup if they can, in fact, take the victory here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Byron has never won in the Cup Series and has never made the playoffs. What a way it would be to make the playoffs for the first time in a must-win scenario for Byron, and he might just end up with a contract extension, as the number 53 of Chase Briscoe is now taken up second, getting around the 00 of Suarez. That's going to allow Ankrum to the inside. Tyler Ankrum is going to take up the 3rd position as it appears, side drafting that 00 down the back straightaway into the 3rd turn. Ankrum now takes up that 3rd spot. And William Byron is definitely going to have a lot of help from how thin this field has already gotten. We've had quite a few accidents already here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's starting to spread out the field just a little bit, and it might be a great opportunity for William Byron to take home his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory, as on lap 33 we only have 33 cars running after very early accidents and that huge wreck on the front straightaway involving the 14 of Clint Boyer. And Kurt Busch has now just raced his way around the 8 of Tyler Reddick. That is going to move Busch up into 10th position. 55 car of Chastain followed suit down on the inside. 57 of Larson to the inside of the 40 of Quinn Half. Larson is going to take up 5th position. Now Kevin Harvick back up into 6th. How about this 34 of Michael McDowell? Currently running in the top 10 for Front Row Motorsports. Now going to try and take up 7th off of Quinn Half and that number 40 car back out front. We still have the 24 car leading, but Briscoe has reeled him in, but just overdrove the entry to turn number 3 a little bit and will drop off the back bumper of that 24. At the back of the field, we now have the 22 car of Joey Logano. Quite a bit of damage on that race car. They're more or less just trying to log laps and slow the bleeding in that regular season point battle between himself and the 4 car of Kevin Harvick, as Harvick now resides in 6th position. All 57 of Larson up the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. That's going to bring Quinn Half back up into the battle for 5th position. And also Kevin Harvick waiting farther back. He has now dropped down to 7th. Here comes Briscoe to the inside of William Byron. Chase Briscoe takes away the race lead and contact between the 26 and 24. Really dicey racing out front here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Chase Briscoe out front in that number 53 RCA Chevrolet, searching for his 3rd win of 2021, which would be the most wins of any driver on the season so far. Ankrum up the racetrack. Almost contact right there between him and the 00. Into the inside wall goes Ankrum. Ankrum gets clipped off the nose of the 00 of Suarez. Heavy left side damage on that 26 car, making contact with the concrete retaining wall on the inside, as Briscoe has taken away the race lead in that 53 car. William Byron back in 2nd. Ankrum is most likely going to try and wait out, having to come down pit road for damage until we get the stage number 1 caution on lap 55. Here comes Quinn Half back down to the inside of the 57 of Larson, and a 3-wide move being made by Chastain, getting around the 4 of Harvick. That is going to move Ross Chastain up into 8th position, passing Harvick and McDowell down in turns 1 and 2. Half back down to the inside of the 57. Half back up into 4th spot as Byron is not letting the 53 car of Briscoe run away with this race lead here at Gateway. A great battle going on for fourth position. Larson back down to the inside of Quinn Houff. Looks like Larson's going to take that spot away down into turn number 1. Ankram's still up in this fight. Even with that heavy left side damage down to the inside of Houff, he's going to take that spot away. And Truex also carving his way through the field, now in 7th position. I'll tell you what, this number 20 team of Brandon Jones has kind of started to fall off the map recently. After getting involved in that massive crash on the front straightaway, they are now relegated in 30th position with pretty significant front and rear end damage on that 20 car, but they have been rather quiet over the last few months. They already have 2 wins on the season, so they really don't have to worry about running too consistently through this regular season, but they really have to make sure that they are on their A game once the playoffs begin. Tyler Ankrum in that number 26 car for GMS Racing just outraced the 19 car of Martin Truex Jr. for the 5th position. The 1 car of Kurt Busch has just raced his way around the 4 of Kevin Harvick. That's going to move Busch back up into 10th position. 95 of Harrison Burton now running in 9th, trying to run down the 55 of Chastain for 8th. 40 car slides up the racetrack just a little bit, has to turn down to the inside to avoid hitting the wall. 95 is going to get around the 55 and try to go for a twofer down into turn number 1. Potentially getting around that 40 of Quinn Houff. He's going to drive up alongside of him. 40 slides up the racetrack, and Harrison Burton now up into 7th. That's going to open up the door for Kurt Busch on the inside as the 24 of William Byron has started to run down that 53 of Briscoe. A little bit of contact right there between Bubba Wallace and the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for position. Those two are racing down in 19th spot. Up front, the 53 car of Briscoe still trying to run away with the race lead, but has not been able to put a too significant gap on that 24. The separation is now just 0.4 of a second. About 1 second back from the race leader is his teammate and last week's winner, Daniel Suarez. Pole sitter Chastain back down to the inside of Kurt Busch. Ross Chastain is going to move up into 9th position with that move. Michael McDowell and Kurt Busch battling for track position right now. This is the battle for 10th spot. McDowell has the preferred inside line through turns 1 and 2. And Michael McDowell is going to take up the 10th position in that 34 car for Front Row Motorsports. A great run for Bob Jenkins' organization here today. Ross Chastain out of the inside of point leader Kevin Harvick. Through turns 3 and 4, Chastain is going to take up the 8th position. Now there's 10 laps to go in stage number 1 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The separation between first and second is now just 0.3 between the 24 and 53 cars. William Byron starting to gain time as that 00 is now just 0.75 of a second within the race lead as well. So second and third place runners, Byron and Suarez, are really starting to gain on the race leader Briscoe now. But that 00 of Suarez overdrives the exit of turn 4. He's certainly going to drop back from that 53 car. With less than 10 laps to go in stage number 1, we're starting to catch lap traffic with the 2 Roush Fenway Fords of Chris Buescher and Ryan Newman about half a straightaway ahead of race leader Chase Briscoe. You can see the Roush cars entering turn 3 right there. And a few seconds later, 53 car enters the 3rd turn. And Josh Bilicki on the inside of the 1 car of Kurt Busch. 71 car gets the spot off of the 1. That will move Bilicki back up into 13th position. Down the back straightaway, you can see the gap between the 53 and 24 has remained more or less stagnant, about 0.3 of a second separating the top 2 runners right now. As we all know, track position is rather critical here at Gateway. Briscoe might be able to pinch that 24 car down, even if Byron does get the run, and still be able to take home the stage number 1 victory. We discussed on the most recent edition of Post Tech Starcom Speed Station switching over to an Ilmor engine next season for NASCAR Cup Series competition. Well, in this race, they have debuted some of the technology that will go into their engine program next season. And as you can tell, teammates now running 1st and 3rd, with the 55 car of Chastain running in 8th position. Chastain won the pole spot, and all 4 of their cars actually qualified in the top 10. Coming through the final 2 corners, we now have just 5 laps to go in stage number 1. Chase Briscoe has caught up to the lap traffic of Ryan Newman, and Chris Buescher will have to see how this 53 car gets through the traffic. And already, here comes the 24 with a run on the 53 car down into turn number 1. Briscoe gets the drive off on the exit of turn 2. 24 car slides up the track just a little bit, gets boxed in by the 6 of Newman. Here comes Suarez down to the inside. And Daniel Suarez is now going to take up second position, making it a top 2 sweep for his organization. The 6 car actually gets the bumper put to him by the 24 of Byron, as the 53 of Briscoe has raced his way around the 17 of Buescher. Briscoe still out front, but the 00 of Suarez has taken up second. And it looks like this 22 car of Logano will stay on the lead lap, because there's the 22 of Logano passing the start-finish line. We have to wait quite a few seconds to get back to the race leader of Briscoe. There's no way Briscoe's going to get to him in time, so Logano looks like he will at least be on the lead lap for the start of stage 2. Kevin Harvick currently runs in 8th position. He's being hounded by the 55 of Chastain, who he just got around, and also Quinn Half to the inside of the 34 of Michael McDowell. Those two battle for 10th position. Owen Larson gets held up by Newman. Those two have a bit of history as well, as the 26 of Ankrum shoots by down on the inside. Ankrum now up into 4th position. Out front, the 53 of Briscoe still holds the race lead with now just 2 laps to go in stage 1. 00 of Suarez has closed the gap, just a 0.3 of a second separating the 53 from 00 cars. These two competitors just got a 2-year extension on their contract all the way down to 2024 for Briscoe to remain in the 53 and Suarez to remain in the 00, so they are now racing with contract security. Onto the front stretch, Chase Briscoe now has just 1 lap to go in stage number 1 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. His teammate Suarez has closed the gap now to just 0.2 of a second up to the 53 car of Briscoe on the exit of turn 2. Closed it just by about another 0.5. Down the back straightaway and into the final 2 corners, 53 of Briscoe still holds the advantage above the 00 of Suarez. Suarez trying to figure out a way around, but it does not look like he's going to be able to do it. Chase Briscoe onto the front straightaway will win stage number 1 here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Briscoe takes home the stage number 1 victory in the 53 RCA Chevrolet. His teammate Suarez in 2nd, William Byron 3rd, Tyler Ankrum 4th, and Kyle Larson rounding out your top 5. And so now, after just a quick break, we'll be back right here at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the beginning of stage number 2. Welcome back to Worldwide Technology Raceway here at Gateway. 53 car of Chase Briscoe, your stage number 1 winner, leads the field down pit road once again. And the first car off of pit road is the 53 of Briscoe, getting out in front of the 95 of Harrison Burton, who has made up a tremendous amount of spots out of the pits. Then the 00 of Suarez getting off in 3rd, 19 of Truex in 4th, and 34 of Michael McDowell coming off in 5th position. We also have a very interesting situation here with drivers such as Ryan Newman, Chris Buescher, Landon Castle, Brandon Jones, Eric Almirola, and Corey LaJoie starting up in front of race leader Chase Briscoe. Obviously, the 6 and 17 cars dropped down a lap under green flag racing, but the 89, 20, 10, and 7 dropped down a lap as well under the caution flag period because they spent too much time on pit road getting some of their damage repaired, and the pace car actually lapped them. So they're actually going to restart this race at the tail end of the lead lap up in front of race leader Chase Briscoe. So Briscoe really has his work cut out for him on this restart with so much lap traffic up ahead of him. A full 6 lap cars restarting ahead of that 53 car. Pace car ducks onto pit road. Number 53 car of Chase Briscoe leads the field out of turn number 4 and onto the front straightaway for the beginning of stage number 2 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. And there's the green flag. 6 lap cars up ahead of race leader Briscoe. A very tough entry down to turn number 1 as he has the 95 of Harrison Burton hounding him into the first turn. Right up ahead of Briscoe is the 6 car of Ryan Newman. So far, nobody is moving but 3 wide with lap traffic. Newman makes contact with the 89 of Castle as they try to split him down the back stretch. Briscoe and Burton being forced up into the middle. Here comes Suarez down on the inside. Contact between Burton and Briscoe. 53 car gets moved up out of the groove as Daniel Suarez moves down on the inside to take away the race lead. Here comes Truex. thinking about maybe going 4 wide into turn 1. Martin Truex Jr. all over the back bumper of that 00 car. Michael McDowell now up into third. Here comes Kurt Busch, almost out of nowhere. 20 up into the outside wall. Contact between the 95 and 20 cars. As the lapper of Brandon Jones slaps the turn 2 wall, Suarez still out front, but Newman, the lap car, ahead of him. 34 McDowell starting to drop back. Gets up into the loose stuff through turns 3 and 4. Oh, and the 20 of Brandon Jones got put up hard up into the outside wall on the exit of turn number 4. 00 of Suarez now trying to break away with this race lead above the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., then the 1 of Kurt Busch. Busch has still a great shot at taking home the victory here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. He's back into optimal track position as that number 95 of Harrison Burton has really been shuffled out towards the back, now almost outside of the top 10. But really, that 53 of Briscoe, now running in around 14th position, got the worst restart of them all after restarting in the lead. How about this? The 4 of Kevin Harvick is starting to drop back where the 22 of Logano can see him. Still, the ongoing point battle here at Worldwide Technology Raceway is very close. And Martin Truex Jr. has been shuffled out by the number 1 car of Kurt Busch. Busch back up into second. Alex Bowman in the third spot as that 19 drops back through turns 3 and 4. Kurt Busch now trying to run down the 00 of Daniel Suarez out front. Here comes a 3-wide move by William Byron into turn number 1, as it looks like Bowman might be able to clear them into the first turn. Bowman now up into third spot, and Byron taking up fourth. Almost contact right there between Truex and Larson. Very good racing here at Gateway. After the restart bunched the field back up, and especially the lap traffic getting in the way of race leaders. But the 00 of Suarez is now out front, but he overdrove his exit of turn 4, bringing the 1 car of Kurt Busch back up into the mix. And the caution flag waves here at Gateway, but here comes the 1 of Kurt Busch to the inside of the 00 of Suarez. Side by side back to the stripe, and Kurt Busch gets the race lead. Kurt Busch takes away the race lead with a very determined drive back towards the front of the field, trying to take home his second career victory here at Gateway, and remaining the only Cup Series driver to win at this facility, outdriving Daniel Suarez back to the start-finish line, then Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, and William Byron composing your top 5. Coming off of turn number 4, the lap car of Landon Cassill gets forced very wide as the 4 of Kevin Harvick stuffs it in on the bottom, making it 4 wide. Cassill gets up into the wall, gets clipped by the 17 of Buescher. A very close call for the 4 car of Harvick once again. 11 car of Hamlin also misses it, but the 18 of Kyle Busch has nowhere to go and slams right in to the front end of the 89 of Landon Cassill, knocking both Cassill and Kyle Busch out of the race here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And now under caution, Kurt Busch will stay out, as well as Daniel Suarez, Alex Bowman, William Byron, and Martin Truex Jr. as the 57 of Larson hits pit road. Not too many other takers so far. We have the 71 of Bulicki also hitting the pits. And the only other taker for pit road is the 23 of Bubba Wallace. So this is going to be very interesting on this restart to see whether or not the 23, 71, and 57 cars can drive their way back through the field on about 18 lap fresher tires than the race leaders. How about this? Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is now running in 10th position in that 47 car for JTG Doherty Racing. They've been involved in multiple incidents already here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, but they have rebounded back up into the top 10. A great run going on so far. Stenhouse looks like he might not be back at this team next season and is right at the top of free agency in that 47 car, yet again proving his worth in the Cup Series. You might expect someone to pick him up for the 2022 season. Pace car hits pit road, this time by Kurt Busch. Once again leads the field onto the front straightaway for yet another single file restart on lap 69. And there's the green flag for the number 1 car. Daniel Suarez gets a bit of a jump on the 1 into the first turn as the 8 car of Reddick tries to get to the inside of the 34 of McDowell. Here comes Suarez to the inside of Kurt Busch. Side by side down the back straightaway as the 00 car takes away the race lead once again. Here comes the 24-19 almost tandeming down the back stretch as William Byron gets right up to the back bumper of Kurt Busch, now to the inside through turns 3 and 4. And William Byron now up into second position. Martin Truex Jr. is going to follow suit on the inside to take up third. Harrison Burton as well, carving his way through the field, now up into fifth position. Tyler Reddick has made his way up to sixth, and the caution flag waves once again. We are now racing back to the yellow flag as the 00 of Suarez is your race leader. Above the 24 of Byron. Here comes the 8 of Reddick, trying to go 3 wide to the bottom of Harrison Burton and Kurt Busch. Bold move to the inside, and it's going to pay off for Reddick. Getting around the 95 and 1 cars as Daniel Suarez leads the field back to the caution flag on lap 71. Above the 24 of Byron, 19 of Martin Truex Jr., 8 of Reddick, and 95 of Harrison Burton as Kurt Busch got freight train on that last lap under green. As you recall, Kyle Larson just came down pit road, cold tires on the 57 car, steps out of the groove just a little bit, up into the marbles, and up into that outside wall, sliding back down the racetrack, gets hit by the 20 of Brandon Jones and into that inside wall. Heavy front end damage on the 57 car of Kyle Larson, bringing out yet another caution flag. And this time by Ankrum, Bowman, Cindric, Gralla, Hamlin, and the damage number 57 of Larson will be coming down pit road as the rest of the field opts to stay out. Pace car hits pit road. Daniel Suarez leads the field onto the front straightaway on lap number 75 for yet another single file restart. And there's the green flag. 24 of Byron gets the jump on the 00 into turn number 1. 19 of Truex spun the tires just a little bit. Through turns 1 and 2, here comes the 24 of Byron side by side with a 00. And Byron, with a great drive off of turn number 2, takes away the race lead. Here comes Truex to the inside of Daniel Suarez down the back stretch. Into turn 3, Martin Truex Jr., and that number 19, Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Camry is going to take up second. Tyler Reddick on the inside now with the 00 going for third spot. Kurt Busch up the racetrack. That's going to let both Briscoe and Kevin Harvick to the inside. Harvick now side by side with Chase Briscoe for position. Harvick's going to take up that spot. That moves the 4 car up into 7th. 95 and 1 now side by side. Down the back stretch, that's going to move the 1 car of Kurt Busch up into 5th position. 24 of Byron now starting to run away with this race lead by about half a second above the 19 car of Martin Truex Jr., 8 of Reddick. Coming under fire, that 00 of Daniel Suarez now. 00 car does not fire off quite as well as his competition, but over the course of the long run, that 00 car really comes on strong. But here comes Harvick now to the inside of the 1 of Kurt Busch. That's going to move the 4 up into 5th position. And still that 22 car of Logano, with that heavy front end damage, is relegated down in 22nd position. Looks like this is going to be a very big point day for the number 4 team of Kevin Harvick. 00 of Suarez still hounding the 8 car of Reddick. Can't quite get around him through turns 1 and 2, as the 1 of Kurt Busch has just gotten around the 4 of Kevin Harvick. That's going to move Busch up into 5th position. Oh, Austin Dillon up into the outside wall. Heavy right side damage on the 3 car of Dillon. Balicki and Gralla managed to get by down on the inside without making contact. Kurt Busch now driving his way around the 00 of Suarez. That will move Busch up into 4th position in the 1 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. Kevin Harvick will follow suit down on the inside to take up 5th spot. 53 of Briscoe now to the inside of his teammate, trying to make it work. Can't quite do it as the 53 slides back in line behind the 00 car. 24 of William Byron currently holds a half a second advantage above the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. as the field now runs through turns 3 and 4. And now Kurt Busch has finally cleared the 4 of Kevin Harvick to officially take up the 4th position, continuing his march towards the front of the field. Now running down the 8 of Tyler Reddick, but he overdrives his entry down to turn number 1. 4 car of Harvick almost makes contact with him. 1 of Kurt Busch has to catch it on the exit of turn 2, but Busch will retain the 4th position as we are now halfway through the Bommarito 500 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The 8 of Reddick has started to run down the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. It's definitely a good opportunity for Tyler Reddick to try and secure his spot in the playoffs. Comes in as one of those bubble drivers after having trouble last week at Mansfield. He could potentially get it done here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, but what would be an even bigger shakeup in the playoff picture would be if this 24 of William Byron can take home the victory as he comes into this race in 27th in regular season points. But right now, the 24, 8, or 1 cars, if they pull off the victory, that will knock out the current 16th place runner in the playoff standings. Oh, and the 8 car of Reddick slides up the racetrack. That's going to let Kurt Busch to his inside. Kurt Busch going to take advantage of that mistake, and Busch will take up the 3rd position. Down on the inside, Daniel Suarez is also going to follow suit. Getting around the 8 car of Reddick, that is going to move Suarez up into 4th position. Oh, and almost contact right there between the 26 of Ankrum and 95 of Harrison Burton. Those two slowing each other up as the 40 of Quinn Half got down to the inside. This is right around the battle for 10th position. Half going for the spot underneath the 26 of Ankrum as Ankrum closes the door into turn number 1. The 4 car of Kevin Harvick now starting to drop back just a little bit. On the inside goes the 34 of McDowell and the 53 of Briscoe trying to make it work. Kevin Harvick being freight trained up on that outside line, now down in 9th position. 24 car of William Byron currently holds a 0.4 of a second advantage above the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. This could finally be this number 24 team's day to break into that win column. They probably should have won at Kansas, got involved in a late race accident. They had the pace there at the end at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but such a damaged race car that they could only muster a 4th place finish. They've ran into some struggles recently, DNQing at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway road course and just not having the finish that they wanted out at Mansfield after having a good running car in the first 20 or so laps of the race. Right now leading and dominating the field here at Worldwide Technology Raceway with less than half of the race left to go. He does have to outrun 2 former champions though, those being Martin Truex Jr. and Kurt Busch. And that's definitely a tall order for the driver of the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. How about this pole sitter? Ross Chastain has now raced his way back up into 5th position in that 55 Nutrient Ag Solutions Chevrolet, trying to run down his teammate Daniel Suarez as Suarez slides up the racetrack just a little bit. That will let the 55 close the gap now side by side down the backstretch. Down this very long back straightaway into the 3rd turn. Racetrack widens out just a little bit into the 3rd corner as the 55 of Chastain will take up the 5th position. Oh, and Kurt Busch up the racetrack as well. That's going to let the 55 car of Chastain potentially get a twofer. Going from 5th now to 3rd position as Ross Chastain drives his way around the 1 car of Kurt Busch. 19 of Truex starting to gain ground on the 24 of William Byron. These last 2 seasons, Ross Chastain has been the only member of his team to not find victory lane as of yet. Right now, after scoring the pole here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, now driving his way up through the field, currently running in 3rd, he could potentially be a favorite as we approach the end of stage number 2. Oh, but Chastain goes up the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. That's going to let Kurt Busch back down to his inside. And Kurt Busch back up into 3rd spot. Daniel Suarez might take advantage of this mistake as well on the bottom of the track. And Daniel Suarez is now going to move back up into 4th position with the 55 down in 5th. Now with just 20 laps to go in stage number 2 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the separation between 1st and 2nd is about 4.5 tenths. And here comes Suarez to the inside of the 1 of Kurt Busch. Battling side by side for 3rd position. Daniel Suarez is going to take up the spot. 55 of Chastain might follow suit down on the inside. And the 55 car of Chastain corners underneath the 1 of Kurt Busch. Chastain back up into 4th position. As you can tell, we have a bit of a 5-car breakaway back in 6th position. We have the 8 of Tyler Reddick, who is about a 2.5 back off of now the 5th place runner of Kurt Busch. As here comes Chastain to the inside of the 00 of Suarez. Ross Chastain back up into 3rd spot. Getting around both Kurt Busch and Daniel Suarez. Now has his sights set on the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. as Truex has still not been able to catch that 24 car of Byron. Kurt Busch back down on the inside of the 00 of Daniel Suarez. That is going to move Kurt Busch back up into 4th spot. Suarez down in 5th position. 8 car of Reddick still not closing the gap up to the 5th place runner. And we still have a 5-car breakaway as now the 19 of Truex has started to drop off the back bumper. The 24 of Byron by just a couple car lengths. 55 of Chastain, though, has reeled him in, and we now have a battle for second position on the front straightaway. 55 of Chastain all over the back bumper of the 19 of Truex into the first turn. 55 car trying to corner underneath him, can't quite get the drive off. Still nose to tail down the backstretch. Chastain might try and move into turn 3. Farther back we have Harvick racing side by side with Ankrum. 55 still right in line behind the 19 of Truex. Trying to get down to the inside, but Truex will not budge. Martin Truex Jr. trying his best to hold off the 55 car, and that is definitely helping that 24 of Byron try and check out and take home the Stage 2 victory. Owen Chastain up the racetrack just a little bit on the exit of turn 2. That's going to let Kurt Busch back up into the mix for the position. Down the back stretch, the 1 and 55 cars run side by side. Chastain going to try and clear him into turn 3. Can't quite do it. And Kurt Busch looks like he's going to retake the third position through turns 3 and 4. 19 of Truex still holding that second spot and still really not gaining on that 24 of Byron, as Byron has now extended his race lead out to 0.6 of a second, with now Kurt Busch finally getting around the 55 of Chastain on the exit of turn number 2. Kevin Harvick back down on the inside of the 26 of Ankrum, but now slides up the racetrack on the exit of turn number 4. A little bit of contact right there between Harvick and Ankrum as Quinn Half squeezes by down on the inside, moving up into 8th position. A very dicey moment right there for the point leader coming into this race, Kevin Harvick. And here comes the 00 of Suarez back to the inside, the 1 of Kurt Busch. Daniel Suarez will take up the third position on the exit of turn number 2 on lap 100. As that number 55 car of Chastain has started to drop back just a little bit. 19 of Truex has actually started to close the gap up to the 24 car of Byron by just a couple car lengths. The separation is now just 0.4 of a second between the 19 and 24 cars, but here comes Chastain to the inside of the 1 of Kurt Busch. Ross Chastain now back up into 4th position. A lot of battling throughout this field for these top 5 running positions, but not too much battling for the top spot right now, as the 24 of Byron still holds a comfortable lead above the 19 of Truex. But one mistake out of that number 24 car, and Truex will be there to pounce. And speaking of mistakes, that 00 of Suarez slid up the racetrack just a little bit on the exit of 4, and that's going to drop him off the back bumper of the 19 of Truex and back into the hands of the 55 of Chastain. Now just 8 laps to go in stage number 2. 19 of Martin Truex Jr. is 0.4 off the back bumper of the 24 of Byron. 00 of Suarez is 6.5 off the back bumper. And in fact, the top 5 runners are only separated by 1.3 seconds, but still that 24 car of Byron holding a comfortable lead right now. Daniel Suarez starting to close the gap up to the 19 of Truex, but he overdrives his exit of turn 4, allowing the 55 of Chastain back down to the inside. Ross Chastain back up into 3rd position. 26 of Ankrum has actually taken up 6th off the 8 of Reddick. Down through turns 1 and 2, Chastain now back up into 3rd spot. Truex still dropping off the back bumper of the 24 of Byron. Also lap traffic up in front of race leader Byron by about half a straightaway is the Roush Fenway Racing teammates of Buescher and Newman, who could potentially drop down a second lap behind race leader William Byron in the closing laps of stage 2. And how about this? Ankrum is actually starting to close the gap up to the 5th place runner of Kurt Busch, potentially making this a 6-man race for stage 2 in the final 6 laps of this stage. But still that 24 of Byron gapping the 19 of Truex. 55 of Chastain now to the inside of the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Truex tried his hardest to hold that 2nd position, more or less holding up the entirety of the field. Couldn't do it forever, as here comes Chastain now up into 2nd position. Kurt Busch to the inside of Suarez, getting up into 4th spot. Here comes Ankrum going for 5th. Ankrum has a very great handling race car right now, trying to take home the stage number 2 victory, and is in contention to pull it off. As now with that 55 car moving up into 2nd, with now just 4 laps to go in stage number 2. Look at that 26 with a very low exit of the corner on fresher rubber than these front runners. 26 car is definitely the one to watch here in these final few laps of stage 2. He might be just a little bit too far back to try and pull off the stage win, but Ankrum easily gets around that 00 of Suarez to take up 5th. 24 of Byron has his work cut out for him to hold off both the 55, 19, 1, and 26, who are still running him down in the closing laps of this stage. But really have to keep your eyes on that 26. Look at the drive through the center of the corner. Underneath the one of Kurt Busch. With now just 3 laps to go in Stage 2, we definitely have a battle on our hands. But the caution flag waves, and that will actually bring the end of the second stage. That has almost certainly saved Byron's chances of taking home this stage victory. Byron wins stage number 2 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, above the 55 of Chastain, 19 of Truex, 1 of Kurt Busch, and a hard-charging 26 of Ankrum. Entering turn number 1, we had some very dicey racing between Kyle Larson, Austin Cindric, and Denny Hamlin. 11 car of Hamlin makes contact with the 57 of Larson into turn number 1, turning the 57 hard up into the outside wall. More trouble for Larson, and as well for the third place runner in points coming into this event, Denny Hamlin. And this caution has brought the end of stage number 2 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And so now, after just a quick break, we'll be back right here at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the beginning of the final stage. Welcome back to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. The 24 car of William Byron now leads all of the lead lap field onto pit road. And how about this? The first car off of pit road is the 55 of Ross Chastain getting out with the race lead. And then the 40 of Quinn Half leapfrogging a tremendous amount of cars out of the pits. The 4 of Kevin Harvick making up a lot of track position as well. 53 of Briscoe and 99 of Ryan Preece composing your top 5. A massive shakeup out of the pits. Oh, and the 23 car of Bubba Wallace has stalled on pit road. There you see the pace car driving around him. Wallace is now 1 lap down. An unfortunate break for 2311 Racing, having a great run going here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And this is going to be a very interesting restart, having that 55 car of Chastain, the race leader, but sandwiched in between the 2 lap cars out at Roush Fenway Racing of Chris Buescher and Ryan Newman. And he practically has a pick against the second place runner of Quinn Half already set up on this restart. Also, folks, following that stage number 2 ending crash, the number 57 team of Kyle Larson has pulled that car behind the wall. Larson is done for the day. But how about this number 37 team of Eric Jones? They wrecked much earlier on in the race. They come into this race right on the playoff bubble line, and they are still in the show, now running in 20th position. This organization is not giving up yet. And they finally got that number 23 car of Bubba Wallace refired. He will be restarting 2 laps behind the race leader. Pace car hits pit road. Ross Chastain leads the field onto the front straightaway and into the restart zone for the beginning of the final stage here in the Bommarito 500. And there's the green flag for the number 55 car of Chastain. Sandwiched in between the 2 Roush Fenway Fords. Now jumps down to the inside of the 17 of Buescher. Here comes Harvick to the inside, taking up second. And Ryan Preece forcing the issue on the bottom. Here comes the 24 of Byron, 4 wide with an incredibly shallow exit of turn number 2. The 71 of Blicky had to catch that race car on the exit of the second corner. Very close racing down into turn 3. 00 of Suarez sends it off into the corner. 1 car of Kurt Busch almost up into the outside wall. A tremendous amount of shuffling through the field right now. 53 of Briscoe gets loose on the exit of the corner. He's dropping back quickly. Here comes the 24 of Byron, now up into second. Right up to the back bumper of the 55 of Chastain. Here comes the 00 of Suarez to the inside of the 24 down the back stretch. But here comes the 48 as well, trying to force it to the bottom of the 00. Josh Bilicki almost out of nowhere. Byron jumps down to the bottom of the 55 of Chastain. Chastain quickly drops back. And William Byron is now back out front here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. 48 of Alex Bowman has taken up second. For Hendrick Motorsports, it is now a 1-2 run here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. 71 of Blicky slides up the racetrack just a little bit. And that's going to bring the 00 of Suarez back up into the mix. The top 2 runners still behind lap traffic. That being the 17 of Buescher, really bottlenecking the field right here. 48 moves up the racetrack. That's going to let Suarez down on the inside to take up second. Owen Newman almost up into the outside wall right there. Austin Dillon actually into the wall and around. On the front straightaway, Hamlin gets turned around as well. Caution flag is back out. The caution flag waves as the field races back to the start-finish line. You can clearly tell that the call to take no tires for teams such as Chastain and several others did not really work out on this restart, as William Byron and the rest of the front runners quickly drove by them. Byron leads the field back to the start-finish line. Kurt Busch steals second off of Daniel Suarez. 0-0 down in third position. Bowman in fourth and Bilicki in fifth spot. You can tell the track position is rather critical at this racetrack, but it looks like fresh tires is prevailing. And I'd say that teams such as Chastain on back, who opted to just take fuel only on that cycle, have definitely learned their lesson that tires are more important. We expected track position to be so critical that if you were to stay out on an old set of tires like the 55 team did, that it would be an advantage, but it really did not pay out in their favor. And that is why Byron cycled out in 8th position off of pit road, because he came down and put on 4 fresh tires and has cycled them out to the race lead after a few laps under green. Austin Dillon just gets put in a very awkward situation coming out of turn number 4, almost 5 wide down on the inside as the 11 of Hamlin tries to get around the 53 of Briscoe, who also went for no tires on his pit stop, which is why he's dropping back like a rock. 3 car up into the wall, then the 42 of Allgaier runs wide up into the 3 of Austin Dillon, down into the 7 of Corey LaJoie, and the 3 car clips the rear end of the 11 of Hamlin, sending him around as well, bringing out the caution flag once again here at Worldwide Technology Raceway in a more or less wreck-filled event. And so now on lap 116, the teams that decided to take just fuel only on the last cycle of stops will be coming down to put on 4 fresh tires, including Chastain, Kevin Harvick, Quinn Houff, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, Justin Allgaier, and the 3 car of Austin Dillon, who got involved in that accident. And so now you have to wonder how much of an advantage the drivers who are putting on tires right now will have, because we only had just a few laps under green, but it might be just enough if we don't get any more cautions to lead to, say, Ross Chastain taking home the victory with that tire advantage. Because right now, if you come down pit road, you will not have to pit any more times over the course of the Bommarito 500. But on those fresh tires, the 71 of Bilicki actually raced his way all the way up to 5th position, and we had the 21 of Cindric, almost out of nowhere, race his way up into 8th, and the 37 of Eric Jones now runs in 10th, and there's almost no sheet metal left on that race car after all the trouble that they've been in throughout today's Bommarito 500. First car out of the pits is actually Justin Allgaier getting out in front of the 55 of Chastain, 4 of Harvick, 40 of Houff, 53 of Briscoe, 99 of Preece, and 3 of Dillon. So these competitors who just put on fresh tires are definitely going to be ones to watch on this restart to see whether or not just a few lap advantage will be critical in the final few laps of this race. Because right on this restart, the tire deficit really isn't going to make that much of a difference, especially when drivers like Byron already have their tires hot. But once we get late into the run, and we definitely start to see some tire degradation, it might be a very significant advantage for drivers such as Chastain to put on those tires now and have that advantage. Oh, and on lap 118, the 48 car of Bowman is coming back down pit road for tires. I guess they believe the strategy call by the 55 teams on back to put on tires now might be a race-winning call, so that's why the 48 car of Bowman is coming back down pit road after just a few laps ran on his tires. He potentially thinks the advantage is just good enough to take that team to victory lane. And so the first car on extremely fresh rubber will be the 42 of Justin Allgaier, restarting down in 17th position. Definitely keep your eyes on the 42 cars on back on this restart, as the lights are now off on the pace car. Byron still leading the 1 of Kurt Busch. Pace car hits pit road on lap 119 as William Byron leads the field onto the front straightaway into the restart zone for yet another single-file restart here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And there's the green flag for the number 24 car. Kurt Busch gets a bit of a jump on the restart into the first turn. Trying to make the look down to the inside. Daniel Suarez, though, hounding him as here comes Ankrum to the bottom. Now side by side for 4th spot down the backstretch, as here comes Eric Jones with that tremendously damaged number 37 JTG Doherty Chevrolet, getting around the lap car of Chris Buescher right back in line behind him. is the 34 of Michael McDowell. Here comes the 22 of Logano back up into the picture. Getting around the 19 of Truex as the field fans out, now 4 wide. Kevin Harvick in the middle of this mess as the 22 of Logano currently holds the track position above the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Here comes the 1 of Kurt Busch hounding the 24 of William Byron with now just 40 laps to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Oh, in contact, farther back. Bubba Wallace gets turned around. Kevin Harvick in the middle of the mess. Wallace gets it corrected, but we are already under caution. Here comes a battle back down to the start-finish line. Kurt Busch to the inside of William Byron. And Busch is going to take away the race lead back to the start-finish line. Kurt Busch steals away the race lead. Byron in second. 26 of Ankrum third. Suarez fourth. And Cindric actually raced his way all the way up into fifth position as the 71 of Blicky got shuffled out. And Briscoe made his way all the way up to 11th position. So I guess it might have been the right call to come down pit road for fuel only and then come down pit road a second time under the next caution for tires as it cycled him out towards the front. Oh, coming off of turn 2, you have the 6 car of Ryan Newman all the way up on the outside, going 4 wide. Gets up into the outside wall. The 4 car of Kevin Harvick has nowhere to go, makes contact with him, turning the 6 down into the 23, sending the 23 car of Bubba Wallace sliding down the backstretch. They all managed to catch it. A little bit of front-end damage on the 4 car of Harvick. Really not too much damage on anyone involved in that, but it did bring out yet another caution flag. No takers on pit road this time by, except for the slightly damaged number 6 car of Ryan Newman, but he is down multiple laps from race leader Kurt Busch anyway, so it's not really going to affect the at least finish of this race. But like I was mentioning about Chase Briscoe, you have some of those drivers who came down pit road on that second caution period for tires who have already raced their way up to 11th, and then the 42 has raced his way up into 14th. That tire advantage doesn't sound like much, only having about 5 laps on the leaders, but it might just be enough to score yet another victory for that number 53 team. It would be their 3rd on the season. You know, we have not mentioned Kaz Grala's name very much over the course of today's broadcast, but he currently resides in 19th position in that 50 car for Richard Childress Racing. Really not a bad run going after all the trouble that they've had today. But who would expect this to be a 10th place car here at Worldwide Technology Raceway? This track has long enough straightaways to where aerodynamics is still pretty important, but the tire strategy has come so much into effect that this car is strong enough to run in 10th position. A great effort out of this number 37 JTG Doherty Racing team to not give up, and they're currently giving Eric Jones a great shot at coming out of here retaining his playoff position. So right now, with Joey Logano more or less miraculously running in 13th position and Kevin Harvick getting in trouble and dropping down to 23rd, Logano will leave this race, if they finish where they run right now, with the point lead. Remember that no more pit stops are necessary, and we still have quite a few cars farther on back with that 5 or so lap tire advantage above the front runners. But if we get even more caution flags, I am fairly certain that even more tire strategy is going to come into play here in the late stages of the Bommarito 500. Pace car hits pit road. Kurt Busch once again leads the field onto the front straightaway and into the restart zone on lap 125 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And there's the green flag for the number 1 car. Kurt Busch gets the jump on the restart above the 24 car of William Byron, who might have spun his tires, as the 55 of Chastain goes 3 wide to the bottom on those fresher tires, getting around Austin Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Also, we have the 53 of Briscoe on those fresher tires, carving his way through the field quickly. Here comes Ankrum, now side by side with Kurt Busch, going for the top spot. Kurt Busch slides up the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. Ankrum to the point. Daniel Suarez now taking up 2nd position. 95 dropping back up on the outside. 22 of Joey Logano also starting to drop back. Here comes the 4 of Kevin Harvick, making a 3-wide move for the point lead on the inside. As Logano still dropping back through the field, 19 of Truex forces the 71 of Blicky wide as Ankrum has taken away the race lead. Daniel Suarez up into 2nd. Austin Cindric now running in 3rd, and here comes the 53 of Briscoe on those slightly fresher tires, quickly carving his way through the field. A 3-wide move being made by Burton down on the inside. Getting around William Byron now side by side with Kurt Busch down the front stretch. Entering turn number 1, Harrison Burton's now going to take up the 4th position In the 95 car for Levine Family Racing, 53 of Briscoe now trying to make it 3 wide underneath of William Byron and Kurt Busch down the back stretch. Josh Bilicki starting to drop through the field just a little bit, but now challenging the 8 of Reddick for 9th position. Looks like he might be able to take away that spot. He has the 55 of Chastain, though, hounding him on the inside. Chase Briscoe now getting around the 1 of Kurt Busch and 19 of Martin Truex Jr., quickly making his way through the field. 53 car now up into 6th position. Daniel Suarez trying to run down the 26 of Ankrum, as Ankrum is out front for GMS Racing, chasing after his first career NASCAR Cup Series points-paying victory. He won the Budweiser Shootout last season at Texas World Speedway, but still has yet to get into victory lane in a points-paying event, and this would actually lock GMS Racing into the playoffs, and they come into this race well outside of the top 16. Another massive shakeup in the playoff running grid if this 26 team can take home the checkered flag. But now we have the 19 of Truex to the inside of the 24 of Byron. Byron's race starting to fall apart once again late in the going. 55 of Chastain drives his way around the 1 of Kurt Busch, moving up into 8th position in the Nutrient Ag Solution Chevrolet. On the 53 of Chase Briscoe, overdrove turns 3 and 4. That's going to let William Byron back down to his inside. And here we go, battle for the top spot. Suarez to the inside of Tyler Ankrum. With now just 30 laps to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Daniel Suarez is your race leader in the Bommarito 500. Suarez won last week at Mansfield, trying to go 2 in a row. After winning at Pocono just a few months ago, this team has really started to get on a hot streak lately. Now out front in the closing laps of the Bommarito 500, Harrison Burton now up into 3rd spot, and the 53 of Briscoe starting to drop back just a little bit. 26 of Ankrum really not letting the 00 of Suarez run away with the lead. In fact, he has closed it right up to the back bumper of the 00 Coca-Cola Chevrolet. Down the back straightaway, Ankrum almost looking up to the outside of the 00, trying to potentially cross him over through turns 3 and 4. Can't quite get the drive off to make the move happen. And he actually slides up just a little bit on the exit of turn 4, dropping off the back bumper of the 00. 53 of Briscoe now starting to drop back as well. Let the 19 of Truex to his inside. And it looks like he might also let the 55 of Chastain, his teammate, get around him. But Chastain moves up the racetrack as well, and so does Kurt Busch, so nobody takes advantage of the slowing 53 car. Kevin Harvick now battling side by side with the 71 of Bilicki. Looks like Bilicki's going to take that spot away as those two battle currently for the 12th position. Bilicki's going to take the spot. Kevin Harvick down in 13th, and way far back now is the 22 of Logano. Harvick back up into the regular season point lead as the 00 of Suarez now holds a half a second gap above the 26 of Ankrum. 95 of Harrison Burton back up into the mix. Ross Chastain just drove his way around his teammate Chase Briscoe. That means that Chastain is now the highest car on fresher rubber. Also on the inside, we have Kurt Busch getting around the 19 of Truex. Owen Byron really overshoots his exit of turn number 4, allowing Chastain to sneak by on the inside. That's going to move the 55 car all the way up into 5th position. 26 of Ankrum has closed the gap now to just 0.4 of a second, separating the top 2 runners. Ankrum was able to get just a little bit better turn in to turn number 3 as well than the 00 of Suarez, closing the gap just barely. And farther back, we have a battle now for position between the 1 of Kurt Busch and 55 of Chastain. Busch looks like he's going to take away the spot through turns 1 and 2. 53 of Briscoe is also going to follow suit down on the inside. That's going to move the 53 car up into 6th position. Kevin Harvick also now racing with the 48 of Alex Bowman. 26 of Ankrum all over the back bumper of the 00 of Suarez. Harrison Burton has now raced his way up into 3rd position, all over the back bumper of the 26 of Ankrum. This team comes into this race outside of the top 30 in regular season point standings, even with their win at Pocono. A second win, potentially here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, could be the boost that they need to make the playoffs here in the 2021 season. Farther back, Kurt Busch moved up the racetrack. That let Chase Briscoe to his inside. And now Briscoe is going to take up the 5th position in the 53 car. 21 of Cindric currently running in 4th. He's shown quite a bit of pace this season on these 1 mile type flat tracks. including a great finish at Phoenix and a strong run at New Hampshire. And right there, you can really see the difference between the 21 of Cindric and 53 of Briscoe in tire wear, as that 21 did not look too comfortable through the center of turns 3 and 4, while the 53 of Briscoe sent planted into the racetrack. But now Briscoe moves up the racetrack just a little bit. That's going to drop him off the back bumper of the 21 and allow the 55 of Ross Chastain to close the gap up to the 53. And right now, Daniel Suarez still holds a 0.3 of a second gap above the second-place runner of Tyler Ankrum. Ankrum still getting just a little bit better turn through the center of the corner. One small mistake out of the driver of the 00 will allow that 26 car of Ankrum to take away the race lead. As there you can see, he's cornering about a half a car length lower, getting right up underneath the 00 car of Suarez. Now just 20 laps to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Side by side for the top spot into the first turn. And Ankrum is going to sneak by the 00 car through turns 1 and 2. Tyler Ankrum back out front with a shot at his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory. Ross Chastain back up into 5th position, outdueling his teammate Chase Briscoe, now all over the back bumper, the 21 of Austin Cindric. And Briscoe went very wide on the exit of turn number 4. That let William Byron to his inside. That's also going to allow Kurt Busch and likely even Martin Truex Jr. to follow suit on the inside, but Truex also overshoots his entry into turn 1. So Kurt Busch will complete the pass on the 53, but Truex is not there to pounce. Look at this. Suarez is not letting that 26 of Ankrum get away with the race lead, pressuring him through turns 3 and 4. Byron back down to the inside of the 55 of Chastain. That is going to move William Byron back up into 5th position. Right now, it looks like we might have just a two-man race for the victory as the 00 slides up the racetrack. The 95 of Harrison Burton has really started to drop off, but especially the 21 of Cindric really out of sight right now, about 1.7 seconds off the back bumper of race leader Ankrum. But the 95 of Harrison Burton started to make gains, so we might have a three-man race for the lead as we approach just 15 laps to go in the Bommarito 500. This could be the perfect opportunity for Tyler Ankrum to take home his first career Cup Series victory. Kevin Harvick has started to drive his way back through the field. Right there puts the bumper to Quinn Houff, moving him up the racetrack, and Harvick takes up the 12th position. Logano currently resides all the way down in 24th position, the last car on the lead lap. And Kurt Busch has now driven his way around the 24 car of William Byron. That is going to move Kurt Busch up into 6th position, now challenging the 55 of Chastain for 5th. Right now, that one car is extremely fast, but I don't know if he's going to be able to gain the necessary 2.5 seconds to get up to the 26 as Chastain moves up the racetrack and allows Kurt Busch to take up that 5th position. I really feel like at this point, Cindric on back is going to need a caution flag to be back up into the mix for the victory. They're a little bit too far back, but right now your top 3 runners are within just 0.8 of a second, and up in front of race leader Tyler Ankrum is the lap car of Ryan Newman. Just 15 laps to go as here comes the 53 of Briscoe beneath the 1 of Kurt Busch. Briscoe back up into 4th position. Cindric still defending that 4th spot. And Briscoe overdrives his exit of turn number 4. That's going to let William Byron to his inside. Byron now going for 5th spot as the 21 of Cindric is still doing a fantastic job of defending that 4th position, trying to get the best possible finish in that 21 car for the Wood Brothers. 55 of Chastain now starting to pressure that 24 of Byron coming off of turn number 2. Also the 19 of Truex now in a battle with the 1 of Kurt Busch down the back stretch. Looks like Byron is going to be able to complete the pass through turns 3 and 4, moving Byron up into the 5th position. Back out front, the gap between 1st and 2nd is just 0.4, separating Tyler Ankrum from Daniel Suarez. Now been shaved down to just about 0.2 of a second. And right up in front of the 26 of Ankrum is the lap car of Ryan Newman, who will certainly be a factor in the finish of today's race. Harrison Burton in that 95 car is starting to drop back off of the top 2 runners, as the leaders have now caught the 6 car of Ryan Newman. Where does Ankrum go? As he's going to catch him on the entry into turn number 1, potentially slowing up his momentum just a little bit. But the 00 of Suarez slides up the racetrack. And 26 car gets boxed in just a little bit down the backstretch. That's going to bring Suarez back up into the picture. He cuts down to the inside. Daniel Suarez makes the move to the inside of the 26 of Ankrum. Suarez back out front on lap 150, and he actually moves Newman up the racetrack. So now Ryan Newman's out of the picture. Battle for second as Daniel Suarez gets just 10 laps to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Harrison Burton has raced his way up into second, taking advantage of Tyler Ankram's mistake behind the lap car of Ryan Newman. But we are not done with lap traffic. In fact, another Roush Fenway Ford, this time Chris Buescher, is up in front of the race leader of Daniel Suarez. But a tough break right there for Ankram, getting boxed in by the lap car of Newman. But I really couldn't imagine a worse lap car to have to pass than Ryan Newman, the kidney stone himself. And he has gotten the number 26 car of Ankram as how he overdrives the exit of turn 4, dropping off the back bumper of the 95 of Burton. Ryan Newman has pounded the outside wall coming off of turn number 2. Potentially got put up into it by one of the front runners. Heavy right side damage on that 6 car. Daniel Suarez going after 2 consecutive victories for the first time in his Cup Series career after winning last week at Mansfield, and has a great shot of pulling it off here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. But the 95 of Harrison Burton is closing the gap. Now just half a second between the 00 and 95 cars. And if Burton can pull off the victory here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, that might just bring him up into the top 30. And Suarez is going to catch the 17 into turn number 3. That's going to box in the 00 car just a little bit. He moves up to the outside. That's going to open up the bottom for the 95 of Burton. We're going to have a battle on our hands down the front straightaway. 95 car back up into the mix. Here comes Suarez cutting down to the inside, hopefully using Buescher as a pick. Almost contact right there as the 95 moved down the racetrack. 26 of Ankram back up into second. As the 95 of Burton gets boxed in by Chris Buescher, the battling is not over as Ankram moves back up into second. And I'm sure he is going to be a definite challenger to this 00 car's lead. Ankram definitely got the advantage on the entry to turn number 3, but slides a little bit on the exit of 4. Suarez still out front. Lap traffic up ahead of them is about half a straightaway away. We might not be getting to them in these last 6 laps of the Bommarito 500. And the lap car of Chris Buescher has more or less eliminated any chance that Harrison Burton had at taking home the victory. He is now 1 second off the back bumper of Suarez, but Tyler Ankram has a legitimate shot at taking home the win. Now just 5 laps to go. The gap separating first and second is just 0.3 between the 00 and 26. Ankram rolls just a little bit better through the center of 1 and 2. Farther back, we have now a battle for position between Cindric and Byron, as Cindric is still doing a fantastic job at defending that 4th place. Oh, and Cindric moves up the racetrack. Got boxed in by the lap car of Buescher, and that's going to allow Byron to shoot by on the inside and finally take that 21 car out of 4th position. Chastain also dives way down to the inside to take up 5th spot in the 55 car. A little bit of contact right there between the 17 of Buescher and 21 of Cindric. They keep it together. Cindric obviously not satisfied with the driver of the 17. Ankram made a hard charge on the 00 of Daniel Suarez on the entry to turn 3, but overdrove it. The gap was just 0.2 of a second last time by, but trying just a little bit too hard on the entry to turn 3 has dropped it back to 0.4 of a second, separating first and second with now just 3 laps to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. There's really no lap traffic in the picture, so it's really Suarez versus Ankram for the victory. Here comes Ankram with a great run on the entry to turn number 3. That 26 car is turning just a little bit better than the 00 right now. 2 laps to go. 95 car of Harrison Burton's more or less out of the picture, but just 0.2 of a second separate the 26 from the 00. Bubba Wallace is back on pit road. An unfortunate story there. Potentially their troubles from earlier are coming back. As you recall, that car stalled on pit road. 26 of Ankram just about 2 car lengths back from the 00 of Suarez. Through turns 3 and 4, the 26 gets just a little bit better of a run. Coming out of turn number 4, Daniel Suarez will see the white flag here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Barely 1/10 the separation between the 26 and 00. Ankram's going to have one last great shot through turns 3 and 4, which he's been far superior than the 00 through all race long. Right up to the back bumper Tyler Ankrum, with just one last shot at taking home his first career Cup Series victory, makes the charge on the 00 through turns 3 and 4, but it's not going to be enough. Daniel Suarez, back down to the start-finish line, goes back-to-back in the NASCAR Cup Series, taking home his third win of the 2021 season. A very close battle in the final few laps here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Daniel Suarez takes home his third win of the 2021 season and second win in a row with an incredible performance here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, edging out that 26 of Tyler Ankrum for the race win. But a valiant effort out of Ankrum in his first full-time Cup Series season to challenge the veteran Suarez for the victory. And I'll tell you what, Daniel Suarez has really been coming into his own lately, taking away the series lead in victories with 3 wins on the season, coming at Pocono, and then the last 2 weeks at Mansfield and Worldwide Technology Raceway, scoring the victory here by just 0.2 of a second above Tyler Ankrum. Oh, so close to his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory, at least a points-paying win. Harrison Burton with a great third-place finish. That's really all that team needed. They're just trying to make the top 30 in regular season points. William Byron raced his way all the way up to 4th, tying his best on the season so far. That's more or less exactly what that team needed. They just need to find consistency. Ross Chastain, the pole sitter, raced his way all the way up to 5th. A good run there. Martin Truex Jr. in 6th spot. Chase Briscoe in 7th. Austin Cindric with another good finish in 8th position. Kurt Busch in 9th. And Kevin Harvick rounding out the top 10. And Harvick will come out of this race once again with the point lead as Logano finished all the way down in 23rd position. And so now in your regular season point standings, Kevin Harvick has once again extended his lead now to 15 points above Joey Logano after Logano's extensive struggles here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. But watch out for Daniel Suarez. He just picked up his 3rd win of the season, 2nd in a row, and really 3rd in about 2 months. And he has now moved up 1 more additional spot in point standings, now to 3rd in regular season points, just 39 points back from Kevin Harvick. He's on a real hot streak right now and really is in contention for this regular season championship now with just 4 races to go in the regular season. But we do have some wild cards coming up, including 2 road courses and Daytona. Denny Hamlin has dropped down to 4th in regular season points, 48 points out of the lead. Martin Truex Jr. picks up 3 spots in points up to 5th, 82 points out of the lead. Brandon Jones stays in 6th, 89 points out of the point lead. Chase Elliott drops down 2 spots in points to 7th, 101 points out of the point lead. Eric Jones picks up 2 more additional spots after that team did not give up here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Got that car home more or less completely wrecked, but they still were running at the finish. They move up to 8th in regular season points, 105 points out of the lead. Clinton Boyer lost 2 spots in the standings with his DNF here, drops down to 9th in regular season points, 110 points out of the point lead. And Kyle Busch also lost an additional spot in regular season points, now down to 10th, 116 points out of the point lead. And now Kevin Harvick, Daniel Suarez, Brandon Jones, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Matt DiBenedetto, Kyle Larson, Kaz Gralla, Harrison Burton, and Josh Bilicki are all locked into the playoffs via their wins so far this season. This is how close the top 30 battle is. Magnussen dropped out, so now he is not currently locked into the playoffs again, but now Harrison Burton and Josh Bilicki are both locked into the playoffs. This is incredibly dynamic, and we have a tremendous amount of battling for these final few spots in these last 4 races of the regular season. It's going to be going back and forth numerous times, but now Burton for Levine Family Racing and Bilicki for Tommy Baldwin Racing are back into playoff spots. They have to try and secure that top 30 in regular season points for their wins to count towards the playoffs, and right now they've done so. But like I mentioned, it's certainly going to be going back and forth between the competitors vying for that spot. Magnussen is definitely not done, especially with 2 more road courses left in the regular season. And look at who this is pushed out, with now there being 13 drivers locked in through their wins. Brad Keselowski is now on the outside looking in. Joey Logano is still 108 points above that cutoff line. More than 2 races, so he's still pretty well secure as long as we do not get more than 16 winners. Eric Jones is now just 18 points above the cutoff line, still barely above it. Boyer is just 13 points above. No room for error for that number 14 team. Just one mistake will drop them on the outside looking in. And like I mentioned, Brad Keselowski, with both Burton and Bilicki moving up into the top 30 in regular season points, Their wins now count towards the playoffs, so that has bumped Keselowski currently out of the top 16 in the playoffs. Keselowski 13 points on the outside looking in. His teammate Bowman 15 points out, Tyler Reddick 27 points out, and Justin Allgaier is 34 points on the outside looking in. So now currently from 20th up to 17th, they are within one race of the top 16. But now there's only 3 spots up for grabs via points. But like I mentioned, the top 30 battle right now is very dynamic. You have Kaz Gralla going after it because he's currently just 26th in points right now. Harrison Burton just barely 29th. Josh Bilicki is 30th. And Bilicki is only in by 3 points, and Magnussen's just on the outside by about 15 points in 33rd right now. So Magnussen is definitely not done, especially with those 2 road courses coming up. So we have a tremendous amount of battling left in this regular season with just 4 races to go, not to mention the regular season championship battle, which is tightened up between Harvick, Logano, and Suarez. And so, folks, that does it for our telecast of the Bommarito 500 here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. We hope that you have enjoyed it. The next time you'll be seeing us will be on Post Tech, where we go over the Camping World Truck Series return to the Milwaukee Mile, the first time that series has been to that very famous racetrack since 2009. And so now we congratulate Daniel Suarez and company on their 3rd win of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season.